It's been a long time since I've thought about buying a laptop. I loved my Dell Precision M6700 that I reviewed back in 2018, but unfortunately it decided to kick the bucket on me last week. This time around, I thought I'd try something new. I've always wanted to try out the Thinkpad X1 Carbon since I first saw Lisa over at Mobile Tech Review, reviewing the very first generation of this laptop back in 2012. Fast forward almost a decade, and the X1 Carbon line has matured into one of the few laptops that can go toe-to-toe with Dell's XPS lineup in almost every way. So today, let's take a look at the 6th generation Lenovo Thinkpad X1 Carbon. First off, this 6th gen model is not the latest or the greatest. At the time of filming, the 8th generation is currently on closeout to make way for the 9th generation that's slated to be released sometime this March. But while the 6th gen isn't the top dog anymore, it may just be the best bang for the buck. I got my fully spec'd out unit in like new condition on eBay for about $800, but lesser units go for around $650 every day. Spec-wise, my unit came equipped with the quad-core Core i7-8650U, 16GB of non-upgradable soldered RAM, a 1TB NVMe SSD, and a 2560x1440 500-nit Dolby Vision HDR display. The chassis is a combination of soft-touch plastic-dipped carbon fiber for the lid and metal for the base. It's fantastically solid for how thin it is, but like most soft-touch surfaces, while it feels absolutely fantastic, it is a fingerprint magnet, and it's pretty difficult to clean. I have a D-brand skin on the way, which should solve the fingerprint issue and add a bit of protection. The keyboard deck is excellent and has almost no flex whatsoever, and while the screen does flex a little bit, it's not much when you consider just how thin the whole thing is. The whole computer clocks in at 0.62 inches thick and weighs just 2.49 pounds. The keyboard is also stellar. I loved the keyboard on my M6700, but this ThinkPad edges it out by just a hair. The feel is actually very similar, but the keys have just a bit more travel to them and they're a lot more stable. I've typed on every generation of MacBook keyboards since the PowerBook G4, many Dell Inspirons, Precisions, Latitudes, XPSs, you name it, and this, so far, is the best laptop keyboard I think I've ever used, with the Dell Precision M series coming in just a hair behind. And that's an accomplishment that's made even more impressive by the fact that it's in something so thin. The trackpad isn't bad. I'm not too sold on the frosted finish, but at least it's glass. It's been plenty accurate, and it uses Microsoft's precision drivers, which definitely go a long way to helping things out. I just wish it was a little bigger. I know this is probably heresy to say to the ThinkPad diehards, but I would gladly trade the red track point in the middle of the keyboard for a little bit larger of a trackpad. This laptop also bucks the trend of Thunderbolt or bust and offers up 2 full-speed Thunderbolt 3 ports, a ThinkPad dock connector, a USB 3.0 Type-A port, and an HDMI 1.4 port on the left, and another USB 3.0 Type-A port on the right, along with a headphone-microphone combo jack. Curiously, they decided to put a combo SIM tray and UHS-2 microSD card tray on the back. I get the SIM card going in the back, but having the microSD card, first of all, be put in a tray is just silly. I love that it has UHS-2, but it needs to be full size and placed on the sides. And if you're wondering, the newer models have just done away with microSD support altogether. Wrong move, Lenovo. Moving on, the 2560x1440p glossy HDR display is downright gorgeous. It looks great right out of the box, but according to Notebook Check, once calibrated, the contrast ratio increases to 1800 to 1. The grayscale 𝘾𝙬𝘼s drop to an average of 0.9, and it covers 88% of the Adobe RGB color space, all while having an average brightness of 532 nits. The contrast ratio is so high that in honestly anything but a pitch black room, you could be forgiven for mistaking this as an OLED screen. Whether you're watching movies or creating them, this screen will not disappoint. The fact that it's glossy doesn't bother me either. I honestly find the reflections on a good, bright, glossy screen to be less distracting than the bloom on most matte screens. The speakers on the 6th gen are so-so at best. They get plenty loud enough, and they don't distort too terribly much at higher volumes, but the sound quality definitely leaves much to be desired. Turning on the Dolby enhancements does make a huge improvement, so make sure you do that if you have this laptop, but it's still a very weak point. Fortunately, Lenovo has taken note of this, and the 7th generation and newer models are supposed to come with some of the best speakers on any Windows Ultrabook. I personally rarely use my laptop's built-in speakers though, so this doesn't really matter much to me. Now on to performance. For a thin and light, it's not bad, but it does run a bit hot by default. Raw performance isn't exactly what you usually buy a thin and light for. That said, the i7-8650U is a speedy little chip. The 8th generation ultra-low voltage processors finally got 4 cores, and it makes a huge difference. Day-to-day tasks are quick and snappy, and it regularly boosts to 3.3 GHz for short, bursty workloads. And when undervolted, the chip draws less than a watt at idle. And that overall snappiness is definitely helped along by the SSD. The 1TB Samsung PCIe NVMe SSD managed read speeds of 3.4 GB per second and write speeds of 2.3 GB per second. Finally, we come to the more menial features. What Lenovo calls the Think shutter might be welcome to the folks wearing tinfoil hats, and the Synaptics Metallica MIS fingerprint reader, while it's accurate and very secure, isn't particularly speedy. Battery life seems to be about 7 hours with mixed usage, which is absolutely plenty for me. Overall, for around the $800 I paid for it, I feel it was a pretty good value. It's been perfectly stable, and with its combo of Thunderbolt 3 and USB Type-A ports, it's future-proofed without sacrificing usability today. It lasts as long as it needs to on a charge, while being powerful enough to chew through pretty much anything I do in Photoshop or Lightroom. So if you're in the market for a thin and light laptop around this price point, I'd highly recommend giving the 6th generation X1 Carbon a look. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, hit like, get subscribed, and ring the bell so you get notified when I post new videos, and I will see you guys in the next one.